Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today Kingkong is back. I'm going to be taking a look at the LDARC KK5 GT. This is a heavy duty 5-inch model from LDARC, who were originally Kingkong. Then they did away with the Kingkong name, but now they are bringing it back for some reason. Not sure what that's about anyways, but yeah, we have got 5mm carbon here. It looks like a unibody, but it's actually not. If you look, their individual arms got these tiny bits of carbon coming out of the side, making it look like a unibody, but there's actually a gap there. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna break there because, you know, this carbon is so thick. But yeah, interesting design. And yeah, with it being heavy duty arms, and we've got this middle section here which looks like aluminium. It's a pretty heavy model, 345 grams, but I'd be very surprised if anyone managed to break this thing. And I think it's competing with the likes of the Emax Hawk 5 and maybe even some of those top end models such as the Coppice 2 and the HLRC Batman. This one costs around £157 for the plug and fly, which I think is about $200. So the motors, they are a 2306 2500 kV LDARC branded motor. I think they are rebrands of Sunny Sky motors, very good quality. The 2.3 stator, I think it's overkill on 5-inch, and we'll take a look at what the speed is like later. But, you know, from the testing that I have done, when it comes to top end speed, at least anyways, the 2.2 stator size can usually break over 100 mile per hour, and then the 2.3 stator size just 100 mile per hour or under. So I think, again, I've mentioned this before, they go for these motors for the lower end, but I just think they are battery killers, honestly. And the props are high on pitch as well. They seem to be LDARC branded. They are a 5150. They look very similar to Gem fans, but yeah, this thing absolutely oozes quality though, I have to say. We have got heat shrink around the motor there, and then we've got braiding here, we've got like some sort of medical tape here. The motor's very high quality, you know, they're naked bottom, but they've got the little lip there to stop the wires catching the bow. Got a hollow shaft there and silver windings, and we've got a hex screw on the other side there as well. The only thing that I wasn't keen about, actually, when it comes to sort of the quality, was this foam thing that they've put here. It's nice and recessed for the screws, but I found on the Ultralight that with the battery strap they provide, that it was throwing batteries all of the time, and I imagine that would happen with this one. So they've given this LDARC branded battery strap, but it's got no feed through, and I don't think you're going to get your battery tight enough. And yeah, so I've switched out the battery strap for one that feeds through. Otherwise, I think it's going to throw a battery. It doesn't come with a battery, of course, so I would recommend a 1550 tattoo battery, or at least a 1500, because, you know, these motors are just going to sap up all of the amps from that battery. So yeah, I think a 1300 would have just too much sag. So yeah, I go for a 1500 with that one. So the camera, I really like. It's the Runcam Mini, not the Micro, and I think these have a slightly better quality than the Micro ones. It has got a 2.1mm lens, and then the guts, it's LDARC's own stack, I think. So we have got a 4-in-1 ESC, it's BL Heli S, so not 32-bit, and they are 40 amp, and it takes a 4S, and you can't see in there, but we actually have a capacitor that bends around on there. So it supports just D-Shot 600, and then above there we've got the F4 flight controller, and it's got a built-in VTX that uses the Tramp audio, and it goes from 25mW up to 600mW using an MMCX connector. We've got a Betaflight on-screen display, and then we've got an SMA connector coming out of the back there. They give you one of these dipole antennas rather than a cloverleaf, but there you go. So, you know, you're going to want to use maybe a Patch Bandicoot on your goggles to get decent reception. That's what I'm going to be using anyways. So this is the plug and fly version, so it didn't come with a receiver. I've put an XM Plus on there. They do give you a cable, so it just connects in the back there, but what I've done is I've just soldered a connector onto my receiver. But yeah, this is plugged in at the back, so you could just chop that wire off and solder your receiver in, but I just recommend undoing these 4 screws here, and then this whole thing just lifts off, and then you've got better access to do your receiver. They've given some more wires, so we've got some more in there, and I guess that's a spare wire maybe for the 4-in-1 ESC. We've got a spare set of those propellers, we've got some cable ties, and we have got quite a hefty manual here. It folds out, so yeah, it's got all sorts of things on it like quality control passes. I'm not really sure these are genuine. You know, it's also got a quality control pass on the top as well, so it says flying quality control pass. Now there's no data flash on there, so I can't really tell whether that is the case. I mean, it doesn't look like it's been flown to me, but there you go. We have all sorts of stickers to say that it has, and all sorts of signatures that they do look like they're printed on rather than handwritten, but yeah, there you go. And of course it comes in the LDARC / Kingkong lunch tub, which I like, but you know, it doesn't fit in there with the props on. As for Betaflight, it came with quite an old version 3.25. It needed pretty much a full setup, so you know, that's the downside of this. It does have its own PIDs in there, but everything else, such as the rates, the on-screen display and stuff, it needs changing around for me. Like dynamic filters needed turning on, air mode, anti-gravity, all of that business. I have actually left the on-screen display how they had it. So it has a current meter, which is pretty nice, and it also had the smart audio graphic as well, so you know what channel that you are on. I think it was just on Bosscam channel 1 out of the box. Okay, so let's take a look at some DVR footage, and there's really not much to complain about this copter. I mean, we've got minimal noise coming through to the video feed. It is fast, so that is 96 miles per hour. It couldn't quite break 100 miles per hour, and I think that's down to its weight. So if we compare it to the Coppice 2, that one was a 101 miles per hour. I think the HLRC Batman very similar, and then the Hawk 5 106 miles per hour with its 2206 motor. I think we need to start a petition to get 2.2 stator motors popular again, because all of these 2.3 stator motors are coming out and they just are very heavy on the amps, and you know, they are killing batteries, and I find that a 2207, you know, that's the sweet spot for me. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Maybe there's something in the low end with these 2.3 stators, and maybe there's something in with the smoothness of the flight as well, because, you know, this thing's flying really smooth. Look at it. It could do with a bit of a tune. I think the tune was a little bit loose to me. I was doing some hesitation maneuvers and getting a little bit of bounce back, but you're going to have to do a full setup with this anyways. Yeah, can you see there, just a bit of bounce, but you're probably gonna mess around with that anyways. This is how the on-screen display came. I haven't changed anything. As you can see, we've got a current meter on there, and it seems very accurate. So this is a 1550 battery, and I think it was reading around about that for the milliamps when I landed, and it was a 4-minute flight time, so decent flight time. So yeah, not much to complain about at all with this one. Got decent components, decent price, good quality, it flies nice, we've got clean video, a little bit more breakup than normal because of that linear antenna, but of course you could stick a cloverleaf on there. So yeah, I will leave you with some flying, and I will link it in the below. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.
Silent nights